this is Haylee, and I'm here today to just talk about some tips and tricks about natural and healthy skin and hair care. So firstly, I just like to talk about my skin and hair care journey. Actually, like my skincare journey started a few years ago, where I actually started first where I just watched a video about some woman who was using a lemon infusion on her face that was like really expensive, and I was like, why are you bothering to do that? I then came up with the genius idea of just putting lemon juice in my rinse water every morning to rinse my face, and I've been doing that ever since. And every morning I just put like lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, and some tea tree oil in my rinse water. Keeps pimples away, keeps marks away, keeps wrinkles away. Done, fine. Do that every day, and then I wash with a good face wash every eve. And that's been my routine. Skin stays great and healthy. I make sure to use a SPF face cream every single day, and that's also because I work at a screen, so it's to protect my face from the screen and the sun. And then in the evening I just make sure to use a moisturizing cream and an oil. Basic, long story short. Today I actually made a face oil with lemon in it, which I've been finding is really good too. I'm glad with that. And now onto hair. So hair, actually, I've just been using like usual shampoos and stuff, but then recently, the other day, I realized my hair is starting to get really dry, and that's not good because my hair is getting long, and I was finding the hair ends, especially because they were dyed long time ago, but now the ends are still like that, dyed, bleached actually. We're starting to get really dry and unhealthy. Then found out about this Edwardian hair care, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. So these women actually oiled their hair to keep it healthy. So I went crazy on it the other day and oiled it completely, especially the ends, as I said, because they were damaged. I used my shop bought rosemary spray oil on my ends and on the hair, and then I used an amla oil on my head, which I still am carrying on using for hair oiling, and all the whole thing. Found it worked perfectly for rehydrating my entire scalp and hair and everything. But of course, you know, if hair needs an intense oiling like it did the other day, it can, you know, after a day or two actually start to get kind of gross. And I found that I actually got a pimple here, and my hair was looking a bit lank, but I had to keep it together like that. And I found that if I brushed it the Edwardian style and like brushed each side like 50 times, you didn't notice it too much, but it wasn't feeling great. By the end of today, I was like, no, I have to wash my hair. Like, I really need to wash my hair. But I had a great day. I spent the whole day coming up with Edwardian-inspired ideas instead of just washing my hair normally. First thing I found out, which is so important, is that just washing your hair with shampoo is not the answer. In fact, I think it's what was causing, especially my ends, to get so dry. So I came up with something that I'm doing from now on instead of shampoo, and I can already see right now that it's working great. And yeah, so the first thing I came up with was just a scrub that AI helped me with, and I believed in the scrub because partly it was my own idea because of what I used to do with my hair in the East. Whether you know me or not, like a few years ago, I used to work at a Montessori school in Thailand, and I worked there for like 6 months, and then I actually went after that and I worked at a TEFL company for another 3 months. But then I just stayed on holiday. I stayed in Thailand for like an entire year. It became like my second home, still is to this day. Like, I know if I walk back there, it's second home. And you know, the climate there, that's right on the equator, so it was really, really hot, and I found that my scalp changed with the climate. It could not stand it. I had radical dandruff and oil problems with my scalp, even when I was using anti-dandruff shampoo. It was not as intense as when I'm back home here in Africa. And so I started to scrub my hair with bicarbonate of soda and water on top of doing my normal shampooing, and that worked, and it kind of made it perfect and normal again. But now it's come up again because, as I said, I'm changing my hair care routine, doing the oiling, but then it's too oily because I've got a naturally oily hair. And then I was like, oh, I know what to do. I'm gonna do the baking soda scrub, and then I looked it up and I saw that's what the Edwardians did. They would do like a dry shampoo with salt. So then I asked AI, what could I do Edwardian style but with baking soda? Because that's what I found really works with my scalp. And it came up with the recipe that I'm using now. That's what the stuff is, which is baking soda, lemon juice, dried lavender, and water. So for every tablespoon of baking soda, it's a half a teaspoon of dried lavender and a teaspoon of lemon juice and a little tiny bit of water on top of that. Like I put literally a couple of teaspoons of water, a few teaspoons of water. But I made like a month's supply, so that's why you're seeing a whole tub. And it was great. I tried it out this evening, scrubbed my head with it, and it worked exactly as I wanted it to. It made my whole head feel fresh, especially because I'd oiled it the other day, and it really needed the oil to get cleaned out and my scalp to just get refreshed. And then I also found out from AI though that after this scrubbing, and I wasn't doing this in Thailand, I wish I was, but I've learned it now at least, that straight after this you need to rinse with an apple cider rinse. So I've made myself a pre-rinse that's worth one rinse. So basically every time I wash, this is worth one rinse, and then I've got to refill it again afterwards, but it's just to save me having to make it. And it's just a couple of teaspoons of apple cider vinegar and some nice clean water. And I did that this eve, rinsed straight afterwards with the apple cider. My head smelled like a fish and chip shop after that. But I was so glad because it felt really good on the scalp and I knew I was going to rinse it out. And then after that, I just conditioned my hair really well with a product I use that's an egg conditioner. It's a shop-bought egg conditioner, but it's good because the Edwardian women back in the 18th century, that's exactly what they did. They'd wash their hair with actual egg because the egg actually brings a lot of shine and moisture and health to the hair. And is also anti-breakage and anti-damage. So I'm glad I'm using a conditioner. I just conditioned all of it well with the egg conditioner. And as I said, and then I actually left it in. I let that sit with the apple cider and everything. Finished my bathing when I was done. Because I was bathing with a jug, to rinse the hair separately with a tap and blah, blah, blah. So then rinsed it all out at the end of my bath. And I'd planned this. Got out of the bath. I've actually made, what I'm about to show you, I've actually made more than this. I made like 2 bottles and a jar full and planned it like this to do this at the sink. So yes, got out of the bath, I'd done everything, but knew there was one step left. Went to the sink, chucked my hair over the sink and poured this on. So what this is it's a hair rinse that I came up with today, also Edwardian style, and I didn't just come up with it. Again, I asked AI to help me with the hair rinse idea, and I didn't go exactly the same as what they suggested, but pretty similar. So I used the idea of rosemary. I used another idea though of lavender, which I have growing in the garden, and then also we've got some like calendula kind of a plant that grows in the garden. I think it's calendula. And I put some of that in as well. I made it all in a coffee steeper. And I just made it like tea, basically. So I infused it all together. A friend of mine, she makes like beard oils and stuff out of essential oils. And I've got one that's eucalyptus and orange. And I've got another one that's I forget what it is, but like basically it's a couple of infused oils. So I put tiny bit of that also in here, but only like a tiny bit. And I just find like even when I smell it, it smells like the garden, but it smells like the most fresh natural like shampoo water basically to me. I don't know why. And rinsed my hair out with that. And my head, I must just say, it feels, after the way I washed it this evening, it feels 10 times more amazing than when I was washing it just with the shop shampoo. Like, it feels amazing. So I'm just suggesting that it's been a really great experience. And yeah, I just wanted to share it because I think that if more people knew like how nice it is to wash your hair this way, just using a scrub and then the complementary rinse, and then rinsing that out, conditioning with the right kind of conditioner, and then, as I said, another natural rinse after that, like, really helps the hair. I'm planning to do this way of wash rinsing my hair like at least once, maybe twice a week, depending, maybe once a week, and then every 2 days maybe after that I'm gonna oil my hair as well. So it's gonna be a process of oiling and then allowing that to sit for a few days and then scrubbing and then like that and so on. So I think that's working for me, and so I just decided to share that. Okay, peace out. Bye.